I know. I missed my cue. I missed my cue. I know. I know.
Never give you the controls ever.
Yeah, I know. I missed my cue. I know I was supposed to start, but that's what you're here for. We're just tag teaming, right?
You talk so much shit. Anyway, you do the intro. You got the controls, so I'm going to get you to do the intros and welcome everybody. And so
yeah,
go for it.
welcome. Yeah, welcome everyone for joining us on the Change Room. And this is the Change Room where we talk about all things psychology, behavior, everything to do with how it impacts us in sports, in life, in relationships, in business, and everything in between. And this episode, we're going to be talking about vulnerability. And we noticed some people from last week also gave us the hint that this was very important, a topic that's very important. So, like we say, and we always say that we actually want to deliver and speak about stuff that's important to people in real time. And that's the show, really. So, Rash, over to you, man. How's everything with you? And what's your feeling about life in general right now?
Life is great, really. As they say in Arabic, alhamdulillah. So I've been good. I've been going to the gym like 5 days a week. Weights, cardio, steam, swimming, etc. So it's been great. Feeling good. I've got a lot on with some work, and in general, the Blue Boys, they're doing very, very well. So I'm always happy when the Blue Boys are doing well. We're number 2 on the ladder, and I think if anything, the mantle was after last week's game. It was a smashing, and it was good to see. So we're really up for the winning. I'm noticing that you're putting up some comments here. Or not comments. These are the new members. So do you want to announce the new members?
Yep. Welcome the new members. Let me just put my glasses on. Nick Liparoda. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Carl's.
We should put it up at the same time. So let's put it up. Here we go. Nick.
Sorry. Yeah. Amateur.
Let me teach you because and
amateur.
Yeah.
And good. And then we've got Carl's, and we've got Dosha Bibi, and we've got Tyler. Thanks for joining us. And
then you got a nice comment here from Rocco, and he's asking if you should take the controls back. And I think maybe you should, but yeah, I'm just being smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. So back on that, and big hello to Wayne also, who joined us last week. Please, if you've got any comments and you want to add to today's topic, go ahead. It's very
easy. We want to make it interactive. We want to make it as interactive as possible. Last week was
last week was good. We had Paul on there last week. Oh my God, he was such good value.
Super props to Paul and the crew at Jumper Punch. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate having us on this platform. We love to talk about like psychology, breaking things down and dissecting stuff. We've got some interesting videos we're going to share with you a little bit later on some hypnosis, and we're going to dive deep and dissect it and strip it apart. These are secrets, to be honest with you. A lot of hypnotists don't really share these days because it talks about like the secrets behind setting it up. So we do want to share it actually, because we believe that when you share like those type of secrets, well, so-called secrets, it helps people really demystify any dangers or any kind of preconceived thoughts about the craft of hypnosis, because we all know hypnosis is impactful. It changes people's lives from the subconscious or unconscious mind. So we're going to strip that down, and we're going to
interesting topic. It's a very interesting topic. I always get people when I tell them I'm a certified hypnotist, they're like, "What is that? You're going to make me dance like a chicken." So we're going to give you more info on that. Rocco's just put a thing here, and then let's get into the show. Let's talk about vulnerability is a superpower. He's talking about the new thumbnail. I think we both like the one before this new one, but thank you, Rocco. If you could send it to us, because I know you're a busy man with all the stand-up that he does these days. So
busy guy.
The one with the 3 faces, the 3 faces. I think that resonates with us much more. All right, Sam.
Yeah.
Ready for it?
go.
All right, clap the hands. Right, that's your
That means
thing.
we start. Yeah.
That means we start. So let's talk about this topic, which I think is a super interesting topic because it's a sensitive one, I think, because it could be misconceived in a different way. So let's talk about vulnerability and that being the superpower. And I'd be interested to see what other people think about what we're going to talk about and why it's so important and why it's a strength. Go ahead,
Right.
my friend.
Cool. So listen, let's talk about how people think of it right now. What's the general consensus of you being vulnerable to something? And commonly speaking, or generally speaking, it has to do with you being weak. It's associated with weakness. It's associated with being unprepared. It's associated with being scared. And so there's a lot of connotations or attachments to that word vulnerability. And so what I'd like to do is approach it from a different angle, in the sense vulnerability is essentially, from a deeper level, it's actually being kind of yourself. When you strip off the mask and you start
The
to
real
present
you.
the real you, right? And so what happens is, obviously, when we're young and we grow up and stuff, we start to develop different types of masks to wear around different people. And we do that for the most part out of survival, to kind of find our way or fit in to a certain group or a certain tribe or a cult or anything of that sort, in terms of a community. And
Mm.
so the vulnerability aspect of this is being a superpower, is because the more you act like yourself, or admit your weak points, or your places that you haven't quite adapted with, you're still learning. People enjoy that more, because it's more authentic, it's more real, it's more genuine. And so as adults, we're walking around typically wearing masks, like we're different people to different people. So I'm sure whoever's listening, you're probably one way with your partner or your friend than you are with your boss or your senior leader, or your teammates. And
Yeah.
so what that tends to do is attach itself to an identity. So if you're playing on a team, okay, let's put this in sports context, and you started off playing a certain way to fit in, then there's a high chance that you're going to continue playing that way, whether it's good, bad. And the problem with that is, you take on that identity, and it makes it more difficult to become more vulnerable, to be yourself, even though you do have the capability to do that, but you just don't want to, because what will people think? That's where the fear of rejection comes in. That's where the fear of failure comes in.
But
It's
but
the
Sam,
moment we take off that mask.
yeah, but Sam, but it's also, and I'm sure that people who are listening in, they would say, there's a fear there of manipulation. So if you go out and give your all and tell who you really are, sometimes not so good people can manipulate you on the basis of that. So
Well,
I get it. You know what I mean? I mean, I've been vulnerable. I mean, we were talking about it pre-show. Like I've written a book. Anyone that doesn't know, I've written a book, but and I put the life story out there, so that's a bit vulnerable.
that's very vulnerable, to be honest. But these days, I think with the onset of people writing books and sharing their stuff on social media, I think it's become trending. So everyone's coming out, so to speak. Everyone's saying their story. They're being a little bit more confident. If you ask me, what good thing did social media do, in a way, is it allowed us to speak and express ourselves. Now, the next question would be, are we expressing ourselves genuinely on social media? Probably for the most part not.
No,
Which is hence the topic we're talking about today. We're referring to vulnerability as, go back and remember that person you were before the world told you who you were. Go back to
Sam,
that.
that's deep. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, I know it's deep, because I like to talk deep. go back to the go back to a memory of yourself, pure and real, before the world taught you who you should be. And you'll find that you'll find that connection. Every time I work with clients, especially when, Rich, when we work on timeline
Yeah,
therapy, and we go back in time, all of a sudden the person's reconnecting to their younger self when they were like maybe 2, 4, 7, around that age, and they're like, oh my God, it's almost like I forgot that little person in me, like, I'm like, where did she go, or where did he go? And the moment they reconnect to that part of their childhood, that's the vulnerability we're talking about. Not so much in a weak point or a negative,
But why is it a
context.
strength? Explain to me,
Sorry?
why is it a strength? Why is it a strength? Why is it a superpower?
It's a strength because it allows you to speak your mind openly, like unfiltered, uncensored.
But some people don't care. Sorry, but
From the people that I've spoken to and the clients I've seen, it's constantly being like, you know what? I like to hang around people that can be themselves.
honest and genuine and etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is the term where honesty prevails. Can I just say one thing, and it's related to Carlton, and I promise I won't talk too much about Carlton, although there's people would. I reckon this time last year, the vulnerability. Remember, I was telling you how they went into a camp and they went to Kurno's farm or whatever it was, and they had this real honest talk, like, to each other, and they said, you know what, you're not playing up to the standards, or you're not good at, and I haven't been good. And they all put their hand up, right? Because they got egos there too. Coach would have put his hand up, the players would have put their hand up, and everything else. That's an example of a superpower where it turns super positive from that.
I also want to add a point exactly on that, Rash. Sorry to cut you off, but it's the moment. Have you ever been in a room where the moment someone speaks the truth, like, and you could feel it?
Yeah.
You're like thinking or saying to yourself, they took the words right out of my mouth, or thank God someone is actually real here.
Isn't that the best way to roll? It's the best way to roll. It's the best way to roll. Going just authentic you. There's only one of you.
I know, bro, but the thing is, going back to what I said earlier, we're living in a society that's based on community. And when you're in a community, we actually try our best to fit in. So by fitting in means it's stripping away the real you in many ways. And there's nothing wrong with it if you're respecting yourself and respecting others.
But they're not promoting that. Be the real you. You are the USP, unique selling proposition. You for who you are. There's no other imitation. You're the one. There's some comments. There's a lot of comments here.
It is. I think the only time I'm truly myself is when I'm alone outside of that mask comes on. Exactly. That's what Rocco said. I'll put that on. Sorry, Rocco. And then we'll come to Petra soon. Great comments, by the way. Great interactions. So Rocco, I couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what I mean when we're out in the world and we're actually playing a role. Like, we have to admit that we're playing a role. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, like, there are certain commitments or obligations and ways of working we need to follow, especially in the hierarchy of a business or even a team. Just like any team has a team captain, and then obviously his players, and from the coach down, everyone has a role to play. But I think what happens is people confuse their roles as being them 24/7. And that's when you're like, hold on, you're just playing a role here, buddy. You're still a human being. At the end of the day, you're going to come back to a family and friends and be yourself, right?
Can I tell you, and let's put it into like a relationship type thing. So with man, woman, okay? The worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is not be who you are. Because sooner or later, you're headed towards, do you know what I mean? Like, crash course.
For sure.
Or the woman or the guy is going to end up knowing who you really are. And why would you waste someone's time like that? You know what I mean? Like,
not only that, how long are you going to keep playing that character?
Well, there's some people that play the character for a long time and they're really good at it.
But you know what they report? In the end? Burnout, stress. They can't keep playing this character anymore. How long can you carry around a mask and a whole, because the whole mask thing, psychologically speaking, it's all energy. Like, you're carrying another persona with you that has weight to it, which is not the real you. Yes, it could be making you. Well, yes, it could be making you more money and all that, and you've got status and power and whatever. But how long do you want to keep playing this game? You know what I mean? Like, I had an uncle I had an uncle. I have an uncle. Sorry, he's still alive, and
Yeah.
he was the police chief, and he did his job very, very well. He's very meticulous, very detail oriented, very disciplined, like ultra disciplined.
Yeah.
And when he used to come home, he brought his job with him. Like he used to even talk to us, like waiting for a salute. And it's like, dude, you know,
Sam, there's a few comments. I know there's one there from Wayne that you've put up. I don't know if you sort of like questioned that, but you can go through that, and then I'd like to add a couple of others, and then let's show the video because I think it's a really cool video.
yeah.
So first and
Andy,
foremost, Andy
Andy had a comment. 1 second, bro. Andy had a comment, a longer one. Honesty has brought me into a space where I'm surrounded by better energy. 100%. It's helped me move forward and away from negative relationships. I thought toxic relationships were normal.
That's the superpower there.
There's your superpower, my friend. Andy, bravo. Give him a clap.
By the way, Sam, we should get some people on the show, not today, but in the future. I was talking to Rocco about this. 100%. If you guys have got in the future, if you think that we should add people to the show and you've got something to add and add value for other people that are watching the show, tell us in the comments, and we're going to consider it in the next couple of weeks. We're up to number 16. The other thing is with Andy is, which is this puts a big smile on my face. Hello, lads. Quickly becoming my new favorite show on YouTube. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that.
Thank you, Andy.
All right. So here's a comment from Petra. Sometimes your strengths are your weaknesses and vice versa. I think wisdom and experience enables us to sort things out.
Well, can I answer Petra?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There was another. So Petra had another comment here. When does persistent become stubbornness? Are there times when people can justify lying and being dishonest? My first response and quick response to that is, you have to justify why you are lying or being dishonest. Like that's another part of vulnerability, and that's another part of owning up to your shit. So if you think you've done someone wrong, and obviously they're showing that reflection back to you, then have a conversation. Like I said something, I did something, maybe they took it a different way, and that's the perfect time to actually come out and make that your superpower, because that other person will respect you for that. And I think that's
good people appreciate that, and I think we've said this a few times. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So the more people that you do good, you have, and sooner or later you'll attract good people in your life. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah. By the way, on Andy, I've just realized who Andy is. So the Monday Blues will be glad to jump on. Andy's got a show called the Monday Blues. It's a Carlton show. I met him the first time at the Jumper Punch live event. And he's such a cool dude. He's Lebanese, so he's one of the brothers. And and they've got an amazing show on Monday. Kudos to you, Andy. We love your show. It's so good. We've got to get Sam to watch it also. And it's probably the second best Carlton show behind the Jumper Punch, with all due respect. But yeah. Hey, listen, we've got a lot of comments. We can go through them.
We didn't finish. Hold on. We didn't finish Petra's first comment. There was talking about, when does persistence become stubbornness?
Closing the loop. Very good.
That's a good question, Petra. I think it's such a case by case. If you take persistence too far, obviously that could become stubbornness. But depends what you're there doing it for. I tend to look at that as more discipline, depending on, again, what it is that you're doing that requires you to be persistent. So if there's exercise and putting your training in, then yeah, of course you have to be persistent, right? And to some degree, you have to be stubborn about it too. Like if you're used to, if one of your components of your regiment for training is waking up at 5 a.m. and doing what is required from you, then you've got to be persistent and taking that forward. That can be looked and seen or viewed as stubbornness, but again, it's where do you want to go from A to B and putting in that work.
Very true. Very true. All right. So there's a whole bunch of, should we go through the comments first and then we'll go into some videos, or should we change it up?
I think we should, if we can, just park it to the side. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through with your comments and interacting. That's what the show is about. But we do want to kind of, circle back to the vulnerability aspect, because vulnerability really is, if you remove that word just for the moment, remove that word and just relate it to the energy, okay, of vulnerability,
Which is
that will give
honesty,
you, yeah, whatever that is. Don't label it. Don't
genuine, whatever.
don't
Yeah,
label
okay.
it.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
label it. Connect to the energy of vulnerability. Just forget about the term or the labels for the moment, and then reconnect how that makes you feel. Now, true vulnerability is a connection of your pure self, your real you, and you'll know it when you feel it. That's why I said connect with the energy that connects to your feeling. That energy will be the bridge of what vulnerability means to you and feels like to you. That could be, and show up in the world, that could be a superpower. Okay. And the reason I say let go of the label or the title, because, like I said, people attach different feelings to vulnerability that may not be yours. People attach different feelings in the news and media and social or whatever that may not be yours. You're just buying into a narrative that does not relate to you. And that's why I hate like labels in general. Like, and I don't want to open a can of worms here, but when people
Don't
talk
do it.
about PTSD and
Don't do it, man.
don't do it, don't do it. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. But like, you get the point,
You got the
that
point, Sam.
it's
You got the point.
it's not the label, it's the feeling. Okay, because we're all driven by a feeling, and so drop the label for the moment. How does it feel when you're vulnerable? Connect to that part of you, and I'm sure that will come up and give you that authenticity, that who you truly are.
Abu Sim, Sam. I just want to put this up by Andy. I'm a big fan of his. And this is what he says. Honesty has brought me into a space where I'm surrounded by better energy. It helped me move forward and away from negative relationships. I thought toxic relationships were normal. Wow. Love that. That's vulnerable saying it. So that's all I've got to say on that. We're going to read more of the comments in a moment. Let me get to a couple of videos. Okay. So here's a funny video. So I have to educate Sam on a weekly basis what the Blues are doing. Okay. So, and I had to tell him we've got this player. His name is Chinkota, and what he did, what he's been doing to other teams when he plays on them is phenomenal. So we want to show this video, and then we're going to dissect this. And this is going to be a little segue towards some hypnosis, which I think we'll do in the next couple of weeks. I know a lot of people are fascinated by the hypnosis.
Give him a teaser today.
And it's super misunderstood. Yes, if before you ask the question, can we stop you from quitting smoking and a whole bunch of different things?
Possible.
Yes, it is. It's possible. Okay, so let me show this video. Oh God, I love that video. It's so cool. It's so cool. Brought you from the Jumper Punch guys that said that if you like that video, send the comment. It's so good. This Alex Chinkota has been a revelation. It's really good. So break that down, and then we're going to show another video after that.
Cool. So that was an interesting video. The moment I saw it, obviously we see a bunch of those. There's a lot, obviously, on social media. But that was a pure kind of like speed induction, what we call a speed induction in hypnosis, where you obviously put people under quickly. And it looks very magical because the camera's there, the music, the drama, right? But people, and the whole reason we wanted to dissect this video is because we wanted to demystify hypnosis the best we can, really. And in this video, what people don't see is the setup. There's a setup, just like great magic, just like great illusions, mentalists, like people like Darren Brown from the UK, who does these kind of, magic and illusionism. It all has, I would say, similar type of components, more or less. Obviously, every genre is a little bit different. But with what this gentleman was doing right now, with people has a setup. Okay, he's already put his subjects into a trance state or an
Right.
alpha or a theta, an alpha or a theta brainwave state, where people have become more suggestible. Okay, and by doing that, I could only assume that he was there talking to them first, and then some people are more suggestible than others. That means that they have a
It's
visual
weeding out.
sense of
We've done that.
imagination.
We've done that together, Sam. Like we've done hypnosis on people. Just for
Right.
those that don't know much about it, it's like, let's say there's a group of 6 people. So I would ask a couple of questions, and on the basis of that, or a couple of little exercises. So, for example, I say to you, go put your hands together like this, and do the following: say, grow bigger, grow bigger. Now, if I'm not getting a reaction from that or that, I'll weed that person out. It's like, okay, they're not suggestible, they're not off. And then the one that's suggestible, then we attack and not attack, but that's the person that we'll get into.
So we have to let's define what suggestible means. It means that those subjects, if you will, or people who are people, but we call them subjects sometimes, tend to have a vivid imagination. They're great visualizers. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the definition. So it doesn't mean that you're weak or strong. It has nothing to do with it. So anyone can get hypnotized. Anyone can get hypnotized, right?
Including you, Rocco.
Yeah. So whoever's there with the hypnotist, if they've got an equal kind of footing where they've agreed that they want to have the hypnotist hypnotize them, and they're highly visualizing people, they become suggestible and to those commands, and all of a sudden, slowly but surely, they build rapport, and that pre-talk contains that rapport, and then after probably about 5, 10, or 15 minutes later, then he could, the hypnotist can do those type of those setups, if you will, or give them those experiences. But in case people are wondering if that was actually real or not, you could bet that it's real. It looks a little bit like they're not, being knocked out, but they're not being knocked out. They're very much suggestible, and their awareness is very heightened. So it's just that what you don't see is the pre-talk or the setup before that happened.
Okay, and I'm going to show a video that I've done to someone, and that's going to be next. So if you want to see it, put a comment. But and you will see the video that I'll show. It's you won't see the pre-stuff. That's what we're talking about, but you see the end product. So I made a guy fall asleep. And
you made him lose his name, right? Was he? Did he lose his name?
I made him forget his name.
Amnesia.
I wish I could do it to more people, but in general, but for that one, it worked. So I made him forget his name, and then I told him, "You got a new name. You got a new name." And then I put him to sleep, and I wake him up, and I told him your name, and I popped his name back to his head, and then he got it right.
Show the video.
And his friends are videotaping, going, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal." Now, his friends, I didn't hypnotize them because they weren't as suggestible as this guy. So, for example, I did on the Jumper Punch a couple of years ago, I did hypnotize Paolo and Mars to swap personalities, and it worked, right? But then I tried to do it on Rocco. And Rocco goes, "So you can't hypnotize me." I said, "Yeah, I can't hypnotize you because he wasn't suggestible enough." So that's the thing. It's got to do with the belief system. And the final thing before we show this video is that, because we're a bit geeky on the whole hypnosis thing, is that hypnosis is a two-way street. So it only works when the other person wants it to work. If you don't want it to work, it won't work. Well, we can. It's really hard, and I don't have the patience for it. So that's that. And then just think about this. It's like when someone has, a substance, a drink or something else like that. You know how that sort of like makes you feel. So the person that dances like a chicken, he'd probably dance like a chicken if he was drunk already. So that's the point of it. It just it heightens what you would have already done, and you're more comfortable with. Okay. On that note, I don't see any comments. No one wants me to show my video.
Talk about hypnosis. Maybe they don't want to see the video, Rash.
I wanted to show it.
Put it on, brother.
No, I'm not going to put it on. No, it's gold.
Put it on. No, put it on.
No,
come on, put it on.
All right. Well, if I get a comment that someone wants me to put it on, I'll put it on. How about that?
Show it, buddy. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I just seen a couple of comments here. There's one funny. Oh god. All right, let's show it. All right, ready? Let's go. Here we go. Your name is Dominique. Your name is Mick. And your name is? Okay, watch this. Coming back. 3, 2, 1. That's right, sleep. Very good. Very good. Just relax, relax, relax. Name one back right now. Let's get your name right now. Back. It's in your back. It's in there now. How's that?
Yeah, that's a great video. That's name amnesia, where you help forget someone's name. He forgot to say his name. So that's really cool. How does that work? Now I'm going to ask you this question, Rash. How does that help in a therapy context when someone wants to quit smoking or become, more fit or more healthy?
How does that work? It's you mean has the technique, or you're talking about what are the benefits of that?
The benefits of it.
That's a trick that's not a trick, but that's a way that you can actually, and I wish I could do this more often. Some people, they're probably in the chat. But it's a technique that shows you that when you allow someone to hand over the operating system, which is the brain, that we can make changes. Okay, because what the brain sees, feels, it does, right? So it's that powerful that if I had told that guy, and if he's a smoker and he really, really got into a full trance, and I said, when you get up and only when you get up, you're not going to be a smoker anymore, that could almost do it to him stopping.
For sure. Because if you can help someone forget their name, you can obviously help them to make a different choice and direct them to something that they want, and they can choose when they're in hypnosis, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. All right. So there's a few comments here. I don't know if people like that.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions on hypnosis, by the way? Can you hypnotize someone who doesn't want, hold on, put up the comment. Can you hypnotize someone who doesn't want to be hypnotized? Interesting. Good question, Selwa. Well, yes and no. I would say that's just my personal opinion. Yes, you can. They call that covert hypnosis. A lot of people are doing it in the world. You probably know who these entities are in the world. But whenever someone gets you to believe in something, and they just sneak it in kind of unconsciously, then you find yourself kind of liking it or believing in it for some reason. But that's a covert approach to hypnosis, to answer your question. So yes, it is technically possible. The bigger question is, would you do it? Like I wouldn't do anything that's covert, that is gonna hurt anybody or harm anyone in any way. If anything, I want to give them something good, a great experience, be kind, be nice. Those are universals. And that's what I would just, it's just the right thing to do, to brighten up someone's day. But so technically it is possible. Now, the flip side to that is, if someone is adamant where they consciously tell you that they need help, but they don't want to get hypnotized, even though they signed up for it, then you don't have a client. That's what we call them here. You don't have a client. You don't have anyone who's reciprocating. In order for a hypnotist to help you, or a hypnotherapist to help their clients, you have to be willing to go through that process, because like Rash was saying earlier, it's a two-way street. And so if they stop right there, and then they stop right there, it's not something that should be forced upon someone. Okay. Is it technically possible to hypnotise someone? Yes. That's my personal opinion.
Just watch TV.
Yeah.
We get
Why would you? But why would you? If you don't have anything great to share, or tell them a nice story, then why?
There's another comment here from Salva. She says here, so in short, it only works on drama queens. That's funny.
Yeah, but everyone's a drama queen these days.
Well, let's just say, the other thing is, it's such a misconception, but we're all hypnotized in different ways. We're watching the media and etc. But one thing that we can do, and we've done before, is, or what we've been taught, is conversational hypnosis. And that could be something else that, in conversation, that we could do some sort of, have you been in a conversation with someone and then all of a sudden it's just gone so quick and you go, what happened there? Well, I was in such a trance, right? I'm a bit like that when Rocco tells his stories or he does his rants. I'm like in that, and then, that's why that probably that show, the show does so well.
So Rash, are you saying that Rocco puts you into trance?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay.
The Blues put me into trance last week, to be honest. Did I tell you I'm a Carlton supporter? Anyway, let's go through some of the comments and then we'll start wrapping up.
Petra has a nice comment. Corporate marketing exploits subliminal suggestions over 70 years now. Petra, it's actually happened for much longer than that. I come from a marketing advertising background, and it's been around for a while. The actual people used hypnosis, believe it or not, over 150 and 200 years ago, to be honest. It was actually there. If you look at the work of Mesmer and who else?
Hence
James
where the word
Gray.
mesmerize comes from.
That's where mesmerism comes from. So if you trace it back, we're all great hypnotists in some way. If you know how to tell a great story, then chances are you're a pretty good hypnotist and you probably didn't even know it. It's great storytelling, when you're pacing and leading. And how does that actually affect people in their everyday life? Well, people are in a trance, believe it or not, in and out of trance several times a day. Okay, it's just like watching a good movie. You get absorbed, you get taken.
Or watching the show.
You could be watching this show and could have a nice, alpha brainwave trance right now, very light, but you're engaged and connected. And same thing with watching a good game. So if you're watching your favorite Carlton team, playing really well, and you're absorbed. Even if they're not playing well, you're still absorbed. Sometimes you get frustrated or angry, but you're in a state of trance. It's either a positive or a negative hallucination. But all this is just, it's all hallucination at the end of the day. We can actually put a separate episode on hallucination.
Oh, we should.
Should we do that maybe next week?
There's a comment here from Andy, and he says, "Teach me how to do this to people." And it's a serious thing. I mean, I wouldn't want you to do it to people when you don't know what you're doing. So we got to be. But maybe Andy, you can contact me at a separate time, and I'll give you some tips on. But you should study it. To be honest, it's the best way to do it.
I think we could do that.
There's a few comments here. Just gonna put through. Hi guys, Lana, she's there, and she's put this you got to do it. Come on, you got to do it.
Yeah, we'll do that shortly. And just before I do, and in a moment, just before I do, I mean, we actually started this show talking about vulnerability, and at the end of the day, it's being yourself, and being yourself is a superpower.
You looped it back. That was really good. Well done.
Exactly. And so we want to anchor that point for those who are joining us because they love the vulnerability as a superpower. It's just being yourself, being authentically you.
You have to be.
And you have to be, right? And, obviously, we continue to talk about demystifying some hypnosis. We're going to talk more about hypnosis as we go. And as you begin to join us on this journey, we'll dissect, different topics in hypnosis and how it impacts teams, sports, relationships, and where your attention goes, energy flows, right? So wherever you're paying attention to something, you're focusing either something that's positive or negative, ask yourself and remind yourself in terms of a practice to know, am I negatively hallucinating something? Am I playing that program where it's not serving me anymore? And that's really the whole purpose of this chat here, is we want to give you guys value by talking about topics that impact our daily life, right?
Sam, there's one more question here, and this is a valid question from Salwa. She says, "Can you hypnotize someone who doesn't want to be hypnotized?"
Answered that question, Rash. You were hypnotized, bro, before that question came up.
What do you mean?
I already answered that question. I said you can definitely technically be put someone in hypnosis either overtly or covertly. Tell us in the comments, guys. Did you hear my reply?
Yeah, no, you did. So, but
You were in a
for
trance,
people
Rash.
who are joining also, that
Rash, you were in a trance, brother. Just admit it.
maybe I was. Maybe I'm in the trance now, Sam.
And
And
maybe
I'm
you
in the
are.
trance. I think you need to put the hat on now. And I'm going to
No,
make
I
everyone.
don't know. I don't know if you're in a trance, but only you can prove that, right? But
Don't go into
if
your
we
mumbo
continue
jumbo
the
stuff,
show,
Sam. I'm telling you, don't go into your mumbo jumbo stuff.
if
You're going to
we
start talking
go,
about a trance and you're going to start talking about entrance. I know where you're going, okay? With the subliminal words. No, put the hat on, please.
yeah, not yet. And as we do that, I will get to that. But at this point right now,
I
I
reckon
think
the
we're
people in the comments should be saying that you need to put the Carlton hat on now.
okay. Should I do that now? Okay, I will do that. But just tell me before I put the cap on, did you guys understand where we were coming from with hypnosis? Does that make sense to you? Let us know just so we know and gauge whether we're making sense or not. So we
And what
can
I did
clarify.
to Sam now was not really hypnosis. It was absolute persuasion to make him push him into peer pressure and to do it. So you don't have to do it. I was like, if you want to, you do it when, in your own time. But please do it.
Yeah, at some point I will. And maybe it will be now, and maybe it can be later. But
All
at some
right,
point it will.
move it. Let's move along.
Good. Selva says it makes sense. Great.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Awesome.
So why don't you put the hat on and let's move forward and start wrapping up the show.
Sorry, there was just an interruption in between. Sorry, did you say we should move on? So when we can move on to something like hypnosis,
Oh God.
this is an interesting topic, right? And I'm sure a lot of our viewers may like this topic of hypnosis. We can continue to talk about it in the next episode or not. We don't have to, but you know what? In due time, we can talk more about it, how it impacts our performance. You know what I mean?
Why don't we talk about topics that for next week that we can put on? And we've got a couple of absolute. We can talk about hypnosis if you want. I don't know if people might get bored with it, or because we can geek out on that.
Petra asked a nice question as well. He always comes up with great questions. Is meditation a type of self-hypnosis? Yes, it is. Definitely is. It really kind of targets the same kind of brain waves. But in meditation, it's a little bit more free flow, where you enter it not with any specific intention, more or less, but with hypnosis, it's more guided. You know, we work on something specific. Meditation is a little bit more free flow, if that makes sense.
So meditation or prayers or all that sort of stuff is a form of hypnosis. It's a different form. So that's why it's misunderstood.
Yeah. So that's really it. I mean, I think we're gonna wrap up soon.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for the comments here. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we try to bring a little bit of psychology and human behavior to this platform. Thanks for joining us. We talk about all things change, and we called it the change room, to be honest, because we were inspired. That's where change happens. Similarly, when you're talking about a sports team, in the change room is where things can, really change and happen and transform before you get back out in the real world or on the pitch, in that sense. So that's where we are at the moment.
Next week, also, let's talk about that. Because I think today's one was a really good one. It's definitely a superpower.
It is.
And last week was
just being yourself.
Yeah,
I think it's just being yourself, really, right? Rash, are you being yourself now? I mean, honestly.
No, I am to probably about. You're putting me on the spot there, Sam. I'm not sure I like that, but okay, I'll go for it. I put on I need to put the mask on for the podcast.
Yeah.
Certainly, but 95% of it's me. Yes.
Yeah.
And I try to be authentic.
Well, you put on your mask. I'll put on my cap right now because I think it's
the hat. Love that. Oh, now it's good. Now, yeah. There's the comments now.
That's
hey,
awesome.
Listen. Rocco's also put here. He's up for getting hypnotized, and he's called me Raz. So maybe he's already hypnotized. He couldn't say Rash. So, but he's up for it. Oh God.
Why don't you do a quick kind of magnetic fingers right now for people who are watching and focus, but are not.
A quick introduction, and then we'll finish up. Or do you want to get for next episode?
Yeah, I think for the next episode we could talk about like hallucinations if you want.
Let's do it. So this is a induction a little basic induction that people do to see if you're suggestible.
Safety
So in
first.
my case, I'm pretty suggestible. So but I can give good hypnosis, but also I can be hypnotized. And I enjoy it. So go, Sam. Do it.
Okay, great. So just before we start, and this is the pre-talk, like I said, before we set it up, whoever's watching this right now, who wants to get a little bit of general relaxation, just let us know in the comments. Yes, 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 just so we know. And in case, you have to be in a safe place. If you're seated or you're standing, no problem.
Do not
Just so
drive.
long as you're not while you're driving or operating any heavy machinery, or your attention needs to go elsewhere. If you're focused on here and you want a quick kind of generative relaxation technique, do this right now.
But we're only going to do a small part, Sam. Not don't go the whole lot. Like I don't want people to get their hands stuck to the table and stuff like that. Just do the magnetic. I know, but I'm just saying. Let's just do the magnetic fingers. So let's go.
So put your hands like so.
Yep.
And put your fingers probably about a couple of inches apart from each other.
Yep.
And make sure that your elbows are hanging in front of you. Don't lean them on any table.
All right.
And then I want you to stare between that space between your two fingers. Just stare between the space between your two fingers. And I want you to only imagine that on each finger there's a magnet. And that magnet is becoming powerful and powerful, coming together. That magnet is so powerful, it's coming closer and closer.
Do it on me. Yeah, go. You don't do it, just do it on me.
Yeah. And then the more you look at those fingers and notice and only imagine that those fingers have a powerful magnet coming closer and closer together. As you focus your attention, stop reading the comments, Rash. Just focus on your fingers as they want to touch. That's right. And as they touch, you'll laugh even more. That's right. Just going more and more the moment they want to touch. Yep. There you go. Let them touch. And then when they touch, good. And you laugh even more. Great. And when that happens, that's when everything changes. You feel a bit more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed, and just let that happen to you. And the more you focus on the screen, Rash, the more you will find that you're going to have an awesome day. You're feeling great now.
I've already had a fantastic day. I'm going to have a fantastic evening.
And you're going to bring that forward with you. And the more you keep focusing on those comments, focusing on that screen, the more you focus, the more you smile. And the more you smile, the more you laugh. And the more you laugh, the more you just feel good about life and people in general.
Enough. Let's go. Done. All right. This has been the change room. I need to cut him off the screen. Otherwise, this guy won't stop. Okay. And I'm not sure that's
put up our socials. Rash, put up our socials. Where's our socials?
The socials. Okay. And what are we discussing next week? Did we come up with a topic?
Well, we talked about hallucinations. I think Andy was saying, he's got a lot of hallucinations, he says, but these are our socials. You can find Richard on Instagram. Monday. You could find me as well on Instagram there. Please feel free to connect. We'd love to have you and connect with you, where we've got some more videos on the topic. Obviously, that's pretty much everything that I talk about. I know other people post food and dresses and beaches and stuff and sunsets, but I post a lot of topics around kind of coaching, hypnosis, and all things self-development. So please do connect.
Okay, that's our thing. So look, I really hope that you've enjoyed the show. We do this out of the passion and love for the blues also, but we do it out of love, and I think next week, if we decide to do hypnosis, I've got a bunch of other videos. You've seen the other one I've done with the corporate guy, and we can break that down.
That's what we said. Why don't we play that one so people can see how you actually hypnotized a corporate executive, a very senior corporate executive, when you were here in Dubai, Rash?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to play it now. We'll do it for next week.
For next week.
But that shows you the induction side of it. So you do see that, and then you see when he goes and when he comes out, and then it's a really, really interesting one to dissect.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah.
Good one.
All right, cool. All right. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. You've been on the Change Room, mindful chats for the game of life. As always, till next time, 5 o'clock Thursdays, although Rocco's saying we might need to change the time. So if you guys agree, tell us, maybe we should go a later time. Till next time, you've been watching the Jumper Punch channel. and we give them a shout out also. And are you going to use the controls and get us out of here, or is it me?
No, I think I'll do it.
Yeah, all right, let's go.
Hold on. I think I'll do it. Go to my outro. Where's my outro? Here we
Thanks
go.
for watching, guys. This guy.
Thanks for watching.
Adios.